Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most debated and, quite frankly, puzzling conspiracy theories out there. The idea that the Earth is flat. Yes, you heard that right. In 2024, there are still people who truly believe the Earth isn't a globe, but a flat disk. Stick around, because we'll be exploring why some people think this, what a flat Earth actually is, and why experts like Neil deGrasse Tyson have said, and I quote, "Flat earthers are really creeping me out." So, buckle up and let's get into it. To understand why people still believe in a flat Earth, we first need to explore where the idea comes from. Historically, the concept of a flat Earth was accepted in ancient civilizations. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and even early Greeks believed the Earth was flat. Let's start with the earliest known human civilizations. Around 5,000 years ago, the Mesopotamians, Egyptians, and early Chinese all believed that the Earth was flat. This wasn't because they were unintelligent, but rather because of their limited ability to observe the natural world on a larger scale. After all, the horizon looks flat when you're standing on land, and they hadn't yet developed the tools or knowledge to measure the Earth's size or curvature. In ancient Mesopotamia, for example, people believed that the Earth was a flat disk floating on water. Similarly, the ancient Egyptians thought of the Earth as a flat plain covered by a dome-like sky. For them, the sky was held up by mountains at the edges of the Earth, and the stars were embedded in this dome. In ancient China, one early belief was that the Earth was flat and square, while the heavens were round. These were deeply ingrained cultural beliefs that shaped not only their understanding of the world, but also their religious and spiritual views. Now, let's dive into what flat earthers actually believe. According to them, the Earth is not a globe, but a flat disk with the North Pole at the center. Some believe the edge of the Earth is surrounded by a massive wall of ice. That's where Antarctica comes in. They also argue that the Sun and Moon are much smaller and closer to Earth than we're taught, and that gravity doesn't exist as we understand it. Instead, the flat Earth is constantly accelerating upward, keeping everything grounded. One of the key talking points for flat earthers is that all the images of Earth from space, especially from NASA, are fake. They claim there's a massive conspiracy involving space agencies around the world to keep us from knowing the truth about the Earth's shape. Wild, right? Of course, science tells us the Earth is round, and we have a lot of evidence to back this up. Let's start with the basics. The curvature of the Earth is observable from high altitudes. You can even see it if you fly in a plane at cruising altitude. Then we have the fact that ships disappear hull first over the horizon, which wouldn't happen on a flat plane. You can even conduct this simple experiment yourself. Perhaps the most convincing evidence is from space exploration. Astronauts like those on the International Space Station see the Earth from orbit every single day. We've taken countless photos of the Earth from space, all of them showing a globe. So, why do flat earthers reject this? Many believe all of this evidence is faked. They'll often say that the space missions are staged and that governments are lying to keep the flat Earth truth hidden. But, honestly, this conspiracy would involve hundreds of thousands of people across multiple governments and space agencies, which just doesn't add up. Now let's talk about one of the most famous voices in science, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil is an astrophysicist, author, and science communicator, and he has not held back when it comes to his opinion on flat earthers. In fact, he once said, "Flat earthers are really creeping me out." And honestly, he's got a point. Tyson points out that the overwhelming evidence for a round Earth has been around for centuries. The fact that flat Earth theory is still debated is concerning to him because it represents a denial of science and reason. He emphasizes that believing in a flat Earth isn't just about rejecting a single fact, but about rejecting a whole system of understanding the world. One of the simplest arguments Tyson brings up is the observation of the horizon and the curvature of the Earth. He explains that if the Earth were flat, you'd be able to see for miles and miles in every direction without ever seeing the horizon dip. In reality, the horizon curves. The farther you go, the more the Earth's curvature causes objects to disappear from the bottom up. For example, ships at sea disappear hull first, and the tops of buildings vanish over the horizon as you move further away. This is only possible on a spherical surface. Tyson points out that the flat Earth model cannot account for this, and flat earthers' explanations, such as perspective or optical illusions, don't fit the consistent observations made over centuries. Neil deGrasse Tyson also emphasizes the role of gravity in determining the Earth's shape. He explains that gravity pulls equally in all directions toward the center of a massive object. Over time, this results in the object forming a sphere, the most efficient shape under gravitational forces. A flat Earth would defy the laws of physics because gravity would have to work differently. On a flat disk, gravity wouldn't pull objects directly down. Instead, as you move toward the edges of the disk, gravity would pull you at an angle, which is not what we observe in reality. Tyson often jokes that on a flat Earth, you'd have to walk uphill as you move toward the edges. This concept of gravity forming spherical shapes is something we see throughout the universe, from the planets in our solar system to stars and moons. Everything massive enough is shaped into a sphere due to gravitational forces. Neil is quick to bring up the undeniable fact that we have photographic evidence of Earth from space. Multiple space agencies, including NASA, have taken thousands of pictures of Earth, showing it clearly as a round object. Flat earthers often argue that these images are fake or doctored, but Neil deGrasse Tyson responds by asking, if the government is trying to hide the flat Earth, why involve so many people? In other words, it would require a massive global conspiracy involving thousands of scientists, engineers, astronauts, and private companies to maintain the lie that the Earth is round. He emphasizes that such a conspiracy is highly implausible, and that the simplest explanation, that the Earth is round, is consistent with all the observable evidence. Another point Tyson often brings up is the Foucault pendulum, an experiment that directly demonstrates the rotation of the Earth. In 1851, the French physicist Léon Foucault built a giant pendulum that, once set in motion, slowly changed direction over time, proving that the Earth rotates. The reason the pendulum shifts direction is that the Earth is rotating beneath it. This is something that flat earthers can't explain, because their model denies the Earth's rotation altogether. Neil deGrasse Tyson often points to experiments like this as simple, irrefutable demonstrations of our planet's movement and shape. Neil also loves to point out the shadow Earth casts on the Moon during a lunar eclipse. He asks, if the Earth were flat, why is the shadow always round? During a lunar eclipse, the Earth passes between the Sun and the Moon, casting its shadow onto the Moon. That shadow is always round, no matter where the eclipse is viewed from. On a flat Earth, you might expect different shapes depending on the orientation of the flat disk, but we never see that. In fact, Aristotle noticed this same phenomenon more than 2,000 years ago, and it was one of the key reasons he proposed the Earth was a sphere. Tyson argues that this simple observation alone is enough to debunk the flat Earth theory. Neil deGrasse Tyson also mentions the role of airplanes in debunking the flat Earth theory. He notes that flight paths between distant cities make sense on a spherical Earth, but would be bizarre and inefficient on a flat Earth. For example, flights from New York to Tokyo don't fly in a straight line over the Pacific Ocean, but instead arc over the northern parts of the globe, passing near Alaska. On a flat Earth, this would make no sense, but on a round Earth, this is the shortest route because of the curvature. Tyson often uses examples like this to show that modern transportation systems, which we all rely on every day, are built on the understanding that Earth is a globe. In the end, Neil deGrasse Tyson is frustrated not just because people still believe the Earth is flat, but because of what it represents, a denial of scientific evidence and reason. Tyson sees flat earthers as an example of a much larger problem, the rejection of basic scientific principles. He's concerned that this type of thinking undermines the value of science in society. And by rejecting something as fundamental as the shape of the Earth, people open the door to rejecting more critical scientific issues, like climate change and vaccinations. He encourages people to embrace science, not because it's an abstract concept, but because it helps us understand the world and improve our lives. In his words, the good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it. So, why do people believe in something that's been debunked over and over again? It's fascinating, but the flat Earth theory ties into larger trends in conspiracy thinking. Psychologists suggest that people who believe in flat Earth theory are often motivated by distrust of authority. They see the flat Earth belief as part of a larger worldview where powerful entities, governments, scientists, and educators are hiding the truth. Additionally, cognitive dissonance plays a big role. When faced with overwhelming evidence that contradicts their worldview, flat earthers tend to dig deeper into their beliefs rather than accept they were wrong. At the end of the day, flat Earth theory is a fascinating look into how some people view the world. It's easy to laugh, but it's also a reminder of the importance of science education and critical thinking. Neil deGrasse Tyson's frustration is understandable. When people reject science, it's not just flat Earth theories they might question, but everything from climate change to medical science. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into science, space, and debunking myths. And let me know in the comments what you think about flat Earth theory. Do you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover? See you next time.